Welcome back for our next one. This one is on line plots. I think you guys should secretly keep track of in the corner as you're watching me, seeing how long my hair gets as we're stuck at home for longer and longer as we're waiting this out. I think I'm about 3 weeks since my last haircut, so it's starting to get long, and we'll see how long it gets before we're finally allowed to kind of venture out and that kind of stuff again. This one is on line plots. So instead of just looking at the data, now we're actually going to graph the data or kind of put it in a display. Couple things for us to jot down. One is our definition of a line plot real quick, and I'll kind of show you what that all means here in just a moment. And then don't forget your question off to the side. Why do we need to draw each of the x's the same size? And you'll see that here in a second. But a line plot is basically a picture displaying the distribution of data along the line. And we're going to use a dot or a mark. And a lot of times what we'll end up using is we'll use an x. But sometimes people will just use a dot, which is why sometimes it's also called a dot plot. But you've probably seen them before. It's going to look something like this. And basically we're going to stack an x up, or sometimes we'll just stack dots for every time a particular number showed up. So you'll see what that means here in just a minute, but just to kind of give you a visual of it. Okay. So for this next one, we have a bunch of data on the number of first cousins. So hopefully you listen carefully. If you are handwriting out your notes, don't feel like you need to copy down this entire data table. I know that's a lot of writing. It's really more important to get the graph and have that down in your notes. Now, if you printed out your notes, it's already there for you, so no worries. But to save you a little bit, if you're having to handwrite these out, if you're using your own sheet of paper, it's okay to skip that data table because we really just want to put the data in our line plot. And here's really all that's involved. You're basically going to sort through the data and place an X for every time a number showed up. So we have all the way from 1s to 7s in our set of data. Some numbers may show up, some may not, but we just want to see how many times did each number occur. So some people will just go one at a time, a 6, and they'll place an X at the 6. And then they'll do a 5, and place an X at the 5. Some people will like to kind of go through and get them all. So I have 2 1s. So I'm going to place an X, or 2 X's at the number 1s. Then I scan through and there's no number 2s. So I'm not going to put any X's. And then I see a number 3. Looks like just one of them. Remember, one of our questions off the side is why do you have to make the X's the same size? Well, as we stack them taller and taller, if your X's are all different shapes and sizes, it's going to make some columns look bigger and some look smaller, even though they might have the same number or more X's in the column, but because you wrote them smaller, it looks like it's smaller. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4s. Stack them nice and neat and try to keep them as even and as equally sized as you can. So like 2 X's over here match up with my 2 X's over here. I've already got one of my 5s, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more 5s. Sorry if you can hear my kids running around upstairs. So I'm going to stack 5 more X's up there. Notice how this one has 6, so it's taller than the one that has 5. I have 1, 2, 3 more 6s. So 1, 2, 3, because remember we'd already put one of them from the very beginning in there. And then I have 1, 2, 3 7s. 1, 2, 3. So some easy questions to answer now are, which number occurred the least? Well, that would be my 2. Which number occurred the most? My mode. Well, that's going to be my 5. It's the tallest column. So you can very easily kind of see some different things about your data once it's in a graph or in a line plot like this, as opposed to just a random set of data in your table. So let's try another one. Again, don't feel like you got to put all your data written down because it's all going to show up in our graph. But you'll notice this time my graph isn't numbered. So I've got to look at my data. So I want you to look through that list of data. What's the smallest number and what's the biggest number? Those are going to be the endpoints of my number line because I want to make sure I have room for every number in there. All right, my smallest number is 0. My biggest number is 6. So I want to go from 0 to 6, counting every number along the way. Notice I didn't go to check to see, do I have any 1s or 2s or 3s? I number all the way along. I'll know if that number occurred by how many x's are there, but I don't skip it just because it didn't happen to be in my set of data. Another thing to always make sure you do, put a title on your graph. The last one already had a title. This one is referring to phone calls to your first cousin. So maybe we'll put number of phone calls to cousin. That's what the data happens to be about in this problem. And then we're going to sort through our data. Again, do it one at a time if you want. If you want to just kind of sort through and grab all of one number and all of a number, however you want to arrange that information. So I've got 1, 2 zeros, 1, 2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 number 1s. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to have to erase a little bit of my title. Hopefully you gave yourself enough room there. 6 and 7 2s. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number 3s. 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice the 5x's here should be the same height as the 5x's here. Then I have 1, 2 4s. You'll notice I don't have any 5s, but I have 1 6. And then, especially in a big set of data, just to be careful, count. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 pieces of data. So I should have 21 x's on my line plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And make sure I didn't miss anything. Now, the nice part is part of doing the line plot is it puts everything in order for you. It goes all the way from the zeros up to the 6s. So the nice part is it's very easy to kind of have the data already in order. And then think about the mode. Mode is the one that occurs the most. Well, that's just the tallest stack of x's. The one with the most x's means it occurred the most. So here we have a question. How many students made at least one phone call? Here's the keyword, at least. That means one or more phone calls. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 made one phone call, and then 7 made 2, and 5 made 3, and 2 made 4, and 1 made 6 phone calls. So I want to count all of those because I want anybody that made one or more phone calls. If I were to count up all of those x's, I would end up with a total of 19 x's. Next, I want to find my mean or my median, mode, range, and any outliers. Remember, our outliers are anything that just doesn't fit with the rest of the data. Now, for outliers, yeah, that 6 is a little bit away from the data, but it's not that far away. It's only one number away. So in this case, I would say we don't have any outliers. My range should be pretty easy. It's just the highest minus the lowest. The highest number is 6. The lowest is 0. Notice it's not how tall the stack is. It's the biggest number in the list and the smallest number. So 6 minus 0 equals 0. The mode, we already said, hey, that one's nice and easy. Which one occurred the most? Which one has the tallest stack? That's my 2. And then my median. Different people will tackle the median in different ways. But like I said, the nice part is my chart's in order. So some people will start crossing out x's from either end and kind of work their way towards the middle. Other people will just take it and write it out in our list. So I have 2 zeros. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 1s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. I have 5 3s. I have 2 4s, and I have a 6. Notice it's already in order, nice and quick to write it out in a list. And now I just find the middle. So I'm going to cross out from either end. So I work my way back towards the middle. chances are we can make a pretty good guess that with as many 2's as there are, and with 2's being in the middle of this, that we can kind of assume that the 2's are going to be my median, but we can always double check. And I do in fact get a 2 as my median. The nice part is each of those x's represent a number. I just had to list those out and put them in order. That is line plots.